Listen up, you pathetic, worthless woman. I already filed the divorce papers. This house, the cars, everything you see, it's all mine. When this is done, I'm marrying someone who actually deserves me. My husband screamed those words at me, announced our divorce, and threw me out while I was burning with fever. He took everything, thinking he had one. He was dead wrong. Just 3 days later, he would be the one on his knees, crying and begging me to take him back. Maya Thornton lay in the king-size bed. The Egyptian cotton sheets felt like ice against her skin, but her whole body was on fire. The oversized t-shirt she usually wore around the house was soaked through with sweat. Her throat burned like sandpaper. Every breath she took sent sharp needles through her chest. She had been stuck in that bed, completely helpless, for 2 straight days. That morning, she had asked her husband, Derek Callahan, to stop by the pharmacy on his way home. Just some fever reducers and maybe some antibiotics. But it was now close to midnight. And Derek still hadn't come back. The massive house in the Houston suburbs was dead silent. The only sound was the antique grandfather clock in the hallway, ticking away like it was counting down the final moments of her patience. Maya tried to reach for the glass of water on the nightstand. Her hands were trembling so badly she could barely control them. Her fingers brushed the glass, but she didn't have the strength to grip it. The glass tipped over, crashed onto the hardwood floor, and shattered into a dozen pieces. All Maya could do was close her eyes and fight back tears. Derek had changed over the past year. Ever since he got that big promotion at his investment firm, becoming a senior partner, his attitude had shifted completely. He started coming home late, sometimes not at all. And when he did come home, he was quick to criticize everything Maya did. The real breaking point came about 4 months ago. Maya started getting these terrible headaches. She was tired all the time. Her body felt weak for no reason. The doctors ran tests and found she had a serious infection that needed treatment. But Derek never showed an ounce of compassion. Instead, he started calling her the sick one. He said it like it was an insult, like being ill was somehow her fault. He seemed to have completely forgotten that Maya was the woman who had stood by him when they had nothing. Back when they lived in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment in a rough part of Dallas. Back when they ate ramen for dinner because that's all they could afford. Back when Derek was just a junior analyst with big dreams and an empty wallet. Maya had believed in him then. She had worked double shifts at a coffee shop just to help pay rent while Derek studied for his certifications. She had sacrificed everything, and now he called her worthless. The sound of tires crunching on the driveway made Maya's heart jump. Finally, Derek was home. Surely he had brought the medicine. Surely he hadn't forgotten. Maya forced herself to sit up, pressing her aching back against the headboard. She waited for Derek to walk through the bedroom door with a pharmacy bag in his hand. The front door slammed shut hard. Then came heavy, angry footsteps. Not the footsteps of a concerned husband. The footsteps of someone who was furious. The bedroom door flew open. Derek stood in the doorway, tall and imposing. He was still wearing his tailored Armani suit. His dark hair was perfectly styled. His face was handsome, the kind of handsome that used to make Maya's heart flutter. But the look in his eyes right now was pure hatred. In his hands, there was no pharmacy bag. Instead, he was carrying a thick manila folder. "Derek?" Maya's voice came out as a weak rasp. "Where are my meds? My head is killing me, honey. I have a really high fever." Derek laughed. It was an ugly, cruel sound that echoed off the bedroom walls. Meds. He walked toward the bed with slow, deliberate steps. "I brought something way better than medicine. This is a cure for both of us. The cure for my life." He threw the manila folder onto the bed. It landed on Maya's legs with a heavy thud. Maya stared at the folder in confusion. "What is this?" "Open it," Derek said coldly. "Unless you want to die of curiosity first." With trembling fingers, Maya picked up the folder. It took everything she had just to break the seal on the envelope. She pulled out several sheets of paper. Her eyes scanned the top line. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Maya's world stopped spinning. She gasped for air. The burning fever suddenly vanished, replaced by a coldness that went straight to her bones. She looked up at Derek, searching his face for any sign of doubt, any hint that this was some kind of sick joke, but all she saw was satisfaction. Divorce, Maya whispered. She couldn't believe the word coming out of her mouth. Why are you acting so surprised? Derek scoffed. He sat down on the edge of the bed, but kept his distance, like Maya was something disgusting he didn't want to touch. Listen up, you pathetic, worthless woman. Do you really think I want to spend the rest of my life taking care of a burden like you? I've already handled everything. The papers are filed. This house, the cars, everything. It's all mine. Derek stood up and paced the room like he was giving some kind of victory speech. I'm so sick of it. Sick of watching you cough every single day. Sick of seeing you lying in bed with no energy. You're dead weight, Maya. You're dragging me down. Key, what did I do wrong? Maya tried to speak, but tears were already streaming down her face. What did you do wrong? Derek laughed again. Your crime is being poor, Maya. You can't give me anything. You have nothing. He gestured around the luxurious bedroom. The custom furniture. The walk-in closet filled with designer clothes. The massive flat-screen TV mounted on the wall. Look at all of this. This house. These cars. The vacation home in Aspen. It's all mine. I'm the one who worked for it. Everything is in my name. Maya said nothing. Behind her tears there was something else. Something Derek couldn't see. Derek took her silence as defeat. Are you even listening to me? He snapped. You won't get a single penny from me. Asset division. Don't even dream about it. You brought nothing into this marriage and you'll leave with nothing. Then Derek said the words that shattered whatever was left of Maya's heart. When this divorce is final, he said, his face glowing with excitement, I'm marrying my fiancée, Brittany. She's younger. She's healthier. She's way more beautiful. And most importantly, she actually appreciates a successful man like me. Unlike you. Maya closed her eyes, so there was another woman. The name meant nothing to her, but the pain was unbearable. I don't want to see your face in this house when I wake up tomorrow, Derek added cruelly. I'm giving you until sunrise. Get out. And don't you dare take anything except the clothes on your sick little body. He looked at Maya, who was now crying silently. Hot tears rolled down her pale cheeks and soaked into the pillow. Crying won't change anything, Derek said. The papers are already filed. The process will be quick. Derek straightened his tie and walked toward the door. I'm staying at Brittany's downtown apartment tonight. I don't want to be under the same roof as you. He paused at the doorway and looked back. Tomorrow morning, I'm sending someone to make sure you're gone. If you're still here, I'll have you removed by force. Maya wanted to scream. She wanted to curse him. She wanted to throw something at his smug face. But all her strength was gone. All she could do was watch her husband's back disappear through the door. The bedroom door slammed shut. Then the front door. A moment later, the roar of Derek's Mercedes pulling out of the driveway. Maya, it's alone. Gravely ill, divorced, evicted. She cried her heart out. The pain in her chest was 1,000 times worse than the fever burning through her body. She wept for her shattered marriage, for the years she had wasted on a man who never truly loved her, for the cruel betrayal that came when she was at her weakest. But I had no idea that everything was about to change. After crying for about 15 minutes, Maya stopped. She took a deep, shaky breath and roughly wiped away her tears. In the middle of all that agony, something else started to rise. Something cold. Something hard. Something calculating. Her face, which had been pale and weak, now hardened with resolve. Maya reached under her pillow. Not the pillow she usually used. The extra one she always kept on the other side of the bed. Her fingers touched something slim and hard. She pulled it out. It was a smartphone. A state-of-the-art device that made the old phone on her nightstand look like a toy. This phone was her secret. The one thing Derek never knew existed. The phone didn't have a pattern lock. It opened with her fingerprint. The screen lit up, showing a plain black background. There were no social media apps, no games, just a handful of encrypted business applications. Maya opened a single contact saved under the name Director Victoria Chen. She pressed call. Her heart was pounding. Not from the illness this time, from the anger that was starting to surge through her veins. The call connected on the first ring. "Good evening, Ms. Maya." A calm, professional voice answered. "You're calling at this hour. Is everything all right? I was informed you weren't feeling well." Maya took a deep breath, trying to steady her trembling voice. "Director Chen," she said. Her voice was raspy, but it was cold as ice. "Contingency Plan Alpha. Activate it now." There was a brief silence on the other end. Then Director Chen's voice turned deadly serious. "Understood, ma'am. What happened?" "I was evicted," Maya said simply. "Derek divorced me. He thinks I'm a useless, sick little nobody. It's the absolute audacity of that man." Director Chen's voice was sharp. "What do you need?" "I'm sick, Director. My fever is dangerously high. I need medical evacuation. I don't want to go to a regular hospital. Come to the house and pick me up. Bring the private medical team from the Clearwater Medical Center. No sirens, no fuss. Do it quietly. I don't want anyone to know. Understood, ma'am? The VIP medical team will be there in 25 minutes. I'll come personally. Can you hold on until then?" Maya looked at the divorce papers lying on the bed. With what little strength she had left, she crumpled the pages in her fist. "I have to hold on, Director," Maya said quietly. "The game has just begun." She ended the call. Her body still trembled from the fever, but her eyes were glowing with a dangerous sharpness in the darkness of the room. Derek Callahan had just made the biggest mistake of his entire life. He thought he was throwing out a sick, broke woman with no future. What he didn't know was that he had just thrown out the founder and soul, owner of Thornton Global Industries, a multinational corporation with a net profit of $2.80 million every single month. Maya waited in the suffocating silence of the bedroom. Every tick of the grandfather clock in the hallway sounded like a hammer blow against her skull. She gripped her secret phone tightly. Her mind was racing. What if Derek came back? What if the medical team got delayed? Her body kept switching between chills and burning heat. Exactly 23 minutes later, her phone vibrated silently. A text message from Director Chen. "We're here." Door unlocked. "Team entering now." Maya let out a sigh of relief. She had guessed right. Derek was too arrogant to lock the door. He probably figured his dying wife couldn't do anything anyway. With every ounce of strength she had left, Maya pushed the covers aside. Her feet touched the cold hardwood floor. Her head spun violently. She almost collapsed, but she grabbed the bedpost just in time. She had to leave. She refused to be carried out of this house like a helpless victim, with shaking hands. She grabbed a long cashmere coat hanging in the closet. She put it on over her sweat-soaked t-shirt. She wouldn't leave this house looking defeated. She wouldn't let Derek take her dignity. The bedroom door opened silently. Maya flinched for a second. But then she saw two people in dark medical scrubs. They weren't wearing flashy white uniforms. They moved quickly and efficiently. Behind them was Director Victoria Chen herself, a woman in her early 50s with a stern but kind face, dressed in a sharp gray blazer. Her expression showed deep concern the moment she saw Maya's condition. "Ms. Maya?" Director Chen whispered. "I'm ready, Director," Maya replied weakly. "Get me out of here. Put Ms. Maya on the stretcher." Director Chen ordered the medical team. The team immediately unfolded a collapsible gurney. They helped Maya lie down with extreme care. "Ma'am, we're going to give you a fever reducer injection so you're more comfortable during transport," one of the medics said. Maya just nodded. She felt a slight pinch in her arm, and soon a cooling sensation spread through her body. The dizziness started to fade just a little dot as they lifted her and carried her out of the bedroom. Maya took one last look at the room she had decorated herself. The room that had witnessed Derek's transformation from a loving husband to a cold-hearted monster. They carried her through the opulent living room. Maya's eyes landed on the large wedding photo hanging above the fireplace. A picture of her and Derek smiling happily on their wedding day. The Derek from back then. The Derek who used to be tender and kind and grateful. That photo felt like a cruel joke now. "Leave everything," Maya whispered. "Don't take anything from this house." "Course, ma'am," Director Chen replied firmly. "We don't need a single thing from here." They exited through the front door. In the driveway, there was no flashy ambulance with blaring sirens. Instead, there was a sleek black Mercedes Sprinter that looked like something out of a presidential convoy. The side door slid open, revealing an interior that was basically a fully equipped luxury emergency room on wheels. Meanwhile, across town in a trendy downtown loft, Derek was celebrating. He popped open a bottle of expensive champagne and poured a glass for Brittany, a young, beautiful blonde wearing a silky negligee. "So tomorrow we'll officially be the owners of that big house, babe?" Brittany asked with a flirty smile. "Course," Derek said, pulling her close. "I kicked her out. That pathetic woman won't dare to fight back. She has nothing. Tomorrow I'll change all the locks. And by next week, we can start redecorating. This is so exciting." Brittany squealed. "Finally, everything will be ours." Derek raised his champagne glass. "To our new life," he toasted. His phone sat on the coffee table, switched to silent mode. He didn't want to be disturbed by any calls from that worthless woman. He had no idea that his perfect new life was about to come crashing down inside the smooth gliding medical vehicle. Maya's condition was being stabilized. A doctor waiting inside immediately started an IV drip. "Temperature of 104.2 degrees, the doctor said. "Severe infection, but we're treating it now. We need to get her to the clinic for intensive care immediately." Director Chen sat in a chair beside Maya's stretcher. She watched Maya's pale face with worried eyes. "Ma'am, you have to be strong. Everything is ready at the Clearwater Medical Center. Our best doctors are waiting." Maya closed her eyes. The fever reducer was starting to work, and her thoughts drifted back to the past. 6 years ago. To the beginning of everything. 6 years ago, Derek had just been laid off from his first real job at a small financial firm. He was depressed for months, angry at the world, bitter about everything. Maya, who was just a simple housewife back then, tried her best to comfort him. She cooked his favorite meals. She held him when he cried. She told him everything would be okay. But Derek started becoming sensitive about money. Really sensitive. He forbade Maya from working outside the house. "Your job is to stay home," he insisted, even while he was unemployed. "I'm the man. I'll earn the money." But Maya had a degree in biochemistry that she had never really used. She had ideas. Lots of them. In her spare time between cooking and cleaning and taking care of Derek's emotional needs, she started experimenting, not in a lab. In her kitchen, she remembered the skincare recipes her grandmother used to make back in the day. Natural formulas using organic ingredients. Things that actually worked. Maya used every penny of her personal savings to buy high-quality raw materials. After months of testing and tweaking, she created something incredible. A facial serum. And a rejuvenating cream with results that were nothing short of miraculous. She tried the products on herself first. Within weeks, her skin was glowing. The dark circles under her eyes disappeared. She looked 10 years younger. Derek was too busy feeling sorry for himself to notice. He just knew his wife was always busy playing around in the kitchen. Maya gathered her courage. She opened a tiny online store. At first, she only sold to friends and acquaintances. But her products became famous through word of mouth. One customer told another, then another. Orders started flooding in. Around that same time, Derek finally landed a new job at his current investment firm. His salary was decent. And almost immediately, his attitude changed. He started becoming arrogant, demanding, critical. He often saw Maya on her phone late at night, but he assumed she was just scrolling social media or watching videos. "I give you money every month, and you're still glued to that phone like a teenager," Derek yelled at her one night. "You have nothing better to do." Maya stayed quiet. What Derek didn't know was that she had just closed a sale worth $45,000 that very night. The real turning point came when Maya met director Victoria Chen at a women's business conference. Maya had attended as a curious participant. Director Chen was the keynote speaker. Director Chen was a former C-suite executive from a Fortune 500 company who had taken early retirement. She was brilliant, connected, respected. After the event, Maya worked up the nerve to approach her. She showed Director Chen her products and a handwritten business proposal. Director Chen was absolutely stunned. "This product is exceptional, Ms. Maya," she had said, examining the serum closely. "And your business strategy is surprisingly solid. You have real potential here." Long story short, Director Chen agreed to partner with Maya, not as an investor, but as a true business partner. She wanted to work again, and she saw something special in Maya's vision. Together, they founded Thornton Global Industries. TGI for short. Maya was the owner, the brain behind every product. The creative genius Director Chen became the CEO, the public face of the company. Maya made one request. Her name could never appear anywhere publicly. She wanted to remain Derek's ordinary housewife. She wanted to stay invisible. Why? Part of her still loved Derek back then. She thought that if he succeeded at his job, he would become a better husband. She thought his arrogance was just temporary. She thought the old Derek would come back. She was wrong. The more successful Derek became at work, the more insufferable he got at home. He criticized everything Maya did. He belittled her constantly. He made her feel small and worthless. Meanwhile, TGI exploded. From skincare, they expanded into luxury cosmetics, then high-end fashion. Designer clothing and accessories created under Maya's artistic direction became wildly popular. New York loved them. Paris loved them. Tokyo and Dubai couldn't get enough. The company opened offices around the world. Revenue multiplied every quarter. A net profit of $2.8 million per month was actually a conservative figure. That was just Maya's personal income. The company's total revenue was dozens of times larger. But Maya kept all of this carefully hidden. She continued living simply. She never complained when Derek gave her a measly monthly allowance. She never argued when he cut it during their fights, and when Derek wanted to buy the massive house in the suburbs and the luxury cars. He had to take out a huge loan from the bank. Derek bragged about it constantly. He said the bank approved the loan because of his excellent reputation and his amazing job performance. What Derek didn't know was that his business loan, which nearly defaulted a year ago when he made some bad investments, had been secretly purchased by an investment company. That investment company was a subsidiary of TG, which meant it belonged to Maya. The house Derek was so proud of, the Mercedes and the Range Rover sitting in the garage, all of it was collateral for that loan. And since TGI now owned the loan, all of that collateral legally belonged to TGI, which meant it all belonged to Maya. Derek had no idea he was living in his wife's house, driving his wife's cars, sleeping in his wife's bed, and now he had thrown her out of her own property. Maya opened her eyes. The medical vehicle was pulling into the VIP entrance of the private clinic. "Director," Maya called out. Her voice was still weak, but her eyes were sharp as steel. "Yes, Miss Maya." Director Chen leaned closer. "Derek took the house and the cars. He told me they were all his, that everything was in his name." Director Chen smiled slightly, a knowing, meaningful smile. "He forgot, ma'am, who paid off his defaulting business loan from First Continental Bank a year ago, when he was about to face foreclosure and complete humiliation." Maya nodded slowly. "He forgot that the collateral for that loan was the house he lives. In and the cars he brags about every single day, and he certainly doesn't know. Director Chen added with a hint of satisfaction that the investment company which bought his entire debt from the bank is Thornton Global Industries. There was a moment of heavy silence. The doctor and nurse inside the vehicle professionally pretended not to hear the conversation. Director Chen Maya said firmly, "Initiate the asset recovery procedure." "When should we begin, ma'am?" Maya looked out the window at the city lights passing by. "He evicted me tonight. He thinks I'll be homeless and helpless by tomorrow morning. I want to let him enjoy his little victory. Let him celebrate with that woman for a few days." Director Chen nodded thoughtfully. "How long?" 3 days, Maya said. "Give him exactly 3 days to feel like he's won. To feel like he's on top of the world. Consider it done," Director Chen replied. 3 days of free rent on your property. After that, our legal team will move." "Exactly," Maya agreed. "On the third day, we recover everything that belongs to me. Understood, ma'am? Good." Maya closed her eyes again. "Now focus on getting me healthy. I need to be strong enough to watch his face shatter." The vehicle stopped at a private entrance. A team of specialist doctors was already waiting. Maya was carefully transferred to a presidential treatment suite that looked more like a five-star hotel room than a hospital, far away across the city. Derek was sleeping soundly in Brittany's arms. He was dreaming about his beautiful new life, his perfect future with a younger, prettier woman. He had no clue that his real life was about to end. In exactly 3 days, the first morning of victory was sweet for Derek. He woke up in Brittany's luxurious loft apartment. Morning sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bathing the room in golden warmth. Brittany was still sleeping beside him, one arm draped across his chest. Derek looked at her pretty face and smiled with pure satisfaction. He had done it. He had finally gotten rid of the burden on his life. That sick, useless woman. He imagined Maya right now, probably crying at a bus station somewhere, trying to figure out how to get back to her parents. Tiny house. Derek chuckled quietly to himself. She wasn't his problem anymore. His bright new life was starting today. "Good morning, handsome." Brittany's husky voice broke the silence. She opened her eyes and stretched like a cat. "What time is it? Is that woman gone from our house yet?" "She's definitely gone by now," Derek replied confidently. "I told her to leave before dawn. She had no choice. She has no money, no power, no friends. She's just a weak little woman who lived off my success." Brittany grinned from ear to ear. She climbed out of bed, her silk robe sliding off one shoulder. "Perfect. I'm already so excited to move in. This loft is nice and all, but that house is a palace. And I'm gonna be the queen." "Course, baby. Anything for you?" Derek pulled her close and kissed her forehead. "Come on, get dressed. We're having breakfast at our new house today. I'll tell the cleaning lady to throw out every single thing Maya left behind. I don't want a trace of her remaining." An hour later, Derek's Mercedes smoothly pulled into the driveway of the big suburban house. Derek stepped out wearing designer sunglasses, looking like he owned the world. Brittany walked arrogantly beside him, her arm linked through his. Derek unlocked the front door with a flourish. "Welcome to our palace, my queen," he announced. They stepped inside. Something was strange. The house was completely silent, but also incredibly clean. To clean. Derek had expected to find a mess. He figured Maya would have thrown things around in anger or left a trail of chaos from her crying. But there was nothing out of place. He walked toward the master bedroom. His heart beating slightly faster, he pushed open the door. The room was immaculate. The bed where Maya had been writhing in pain just yesterday was now perfectly made with crisp white sheets. There was no trace of medicine, bottles, or tissues. Even the broken glass from the water she had dropped was gone. The hardwood floor was spotless. "She must have cleaned up before she left," Derek muttered, slightly confused. "Good. At least she was useful one last time." "Whatever," Brittany said dismissively from behind him. I'm just glad she's gone. Now come on, let's start measuring this room. I want to change everything. Derek felt a tiny flicker of unease. How could Maya, with a dangerously high fever, have cleaned this room so perfectly? Where were the dirty sheets? How did she manage to leave without leaving a single trace? He checked the closet. Maya's modest clothes were gone. Every dress, every scarf, even her old shoes. She really is gone, Derek said, finally relaxing. He shook off the weird feeling. Maybe she had called someone to help her pack. Maybe she wasn't as sick as she pretended to be. It's better this way, he told himself. A clean break. Brittany was already racing through the house, her sharp voice echoing off the walls. This sofa is so ugly. It has to go. That painting is tacky. Throw it away. And this kitchen needs a complete remodel. I want Italian marble countertops and custom cabinets. Derek just smiled and nodded. Yes, baby, I'll change everything. Whatever you want. We should throw a party tonight, Brittany suggested excitedly. Invite our closest friends. Show off the house. Celebrate our new beginning. It's a great idea. Derek agreed. I'll order the most expensive catering in the city. He pulled out his phone and called his usual premium catering service. He ordered everything. Wagyu beef, fresh lobster, imported caviar, the finest champagne. Understood, Mr. Callahan, the catering manager said. The total comes to $3,500. Following our standard procedure, we'll need a 50% deposit now. Of course, Derek said arrogantly. Send me the invoice. I'll pay with my primary credit card. He sat down on the sofa Brittany hated and opened his banking app. He entered his credit card information and pressed the payment. Button. The screen processed for a moment, then a red notification. Flashed, transaction declined. Derek frowned. That was weird. The limit on this card was over $200,000. He barely used a fraction of it. Probably just a network issue, he muttered. He tried again. Transaction declined. Honey, what's taking so long? Brittany called from the other room where she was busy taking selfies. Just a second, babe. I think the bank is having technical problems. Derek's face was starting to feel hot. He tried another credit card. Same bank. Decline. Cold sweat formed on his forehead. This couldn't be happening. He was a VIP client. Why were all his cards being rejected? He tried his debit card. Declined. Insufficient funds. Derek's eyes went wide. Insufficient funds. That was impossible. His salary had been deposited just a few days ago. He should have tens of thousands in that account. He quickly closed the payment app and opened his main mobile banking application. His heart was pounding against his ribs. He entered his password with shaking fingers. The screen loaded. Then a message appeared. Account access blocked. Please contact your nearest branch. Derek's whole body went rigid. This was a disaster. He couldn't access his payroll account. He couldn't use any of his credit cards. What the hell was going on? Derek? Brittany's annoyed voice cut through his panic. The catering guy just called me back. He says the payment still isn't going through. This is so embarrassing. Relax, baby. Just relax. Derek was barely holding it together. I'll figure this out.
He suddenly remembered that he had an emergency account at a different bank. An old account he rarely used, not connected to any credit facilities. There should still be a few $1,000s in there. With trembling hands, he tried to pay the catering deposit from that account. Success. Derek let out a shaky breath of relief. Crisis averted, for now. See, he said with a forced smile. It was just a technical glitch. Everything's fine now. The catering will be here at 7. Brittany cheered up again. Great. I need to go get my hair and nails done. I have to look perfect for tonight. After Brittany left for the salon, Derek's fake smile vanished instantly. His face was pale. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Something was very, very wrong. Why was his main account frozen? Did this have something to do with Maya? No, impossible. That pathetic woman couldn't possibly pull off something like this. She didn't have the connections. She didn't have the brains. He told himself it was just a banking error. Tomorrow morning, first thing, he would call the bank and raise hell. He would demand compensation for this humiliation. But what he thought was coming next changed everything. As he paced around the living room, trying to calm his nerves, the doorbell rang. Derek walked to the door and opened it. A uniformed courier stood on the porch, holding a large brown folder. "Mr. Derek Callahan." "That's me." "Certified mail, sir. Sign here, please." Derek scrawled his signature on the receipt and took the folder. The courier nodded and walked away. Derek examined the return address. The sender was a law firm he had never heard of, Harper and Associates. The name sounded expensive and intimidating. Derek assumed it was just the court confirmation of his divorce petition. Finally, some good news. He ripped open the envelope impatiently. But the contents were not from family court. It was a formal demand letter, a legal warning. His eyes scanned the harsh, official language. "Dear Mr. Callahan, on behalf of our client, Thornton Global Industries, we hereby notify you that you are in material breach of your business loan agreement. The total outstanding principal of $5.2 million is now due immediately. You are granted a grace period of three days to pay the full amount. Failure to comply will result in the immediate forced execution of your collateral assets, namely, one residential property located at 847 Oakwood Drive, Houston, TX, and 2 motor vehicles registered in your name." The folder slipped from Derek's hands and hit the floor. He couldn't breathe. 3 days, $5.2 million, foreclosure on the house. "No," he whispered, his voice cracking. "This is impossible. I made my payment last week. What breach? And what the hell is Thornton Global Industries?" His celebration had just turned into the beginning of a nightmare. That night, while music played and guests laughed and champagne flowed at his party, Derek could only manage a fake smile. His mind was chaos. He felt like an invisible trap was slowly tightening around his neck. And he had no idea how to escape. Derek couldn't sleep that night. Brittany was passed out beside him, exhausted from the party. But Derek's mind kept spinning like a broken record. The words from that demand letter echoed in his skull. $5.2 million, $3 days, forced execution, Thornton Global Industries. As soon as the sun came up, Derek jumped out of bed. His eyes were bloodshot. He hadn't showered. He just threw on the first clothes he could find and ran out the door. He had to get to the bank. He had to fix this. It was all a mistake. It had to be. At exactly 9:00 a.m., the moment the bank opened its doors, Derek stormed inside. He walked right past the line of regular customers and headed straight for the VIP service counter. "I'm Derek Callahan," he announced loudly, slamming his platinum VIP card on the counter. "I need to see the branch manager, right now." The startled employee immediately led him to a private waiting room. 5 minutes later, a well-dressed relationship manager walked in. It wasn't the branch manager, just some mid-level guy in a cheap suit. "Good morning, Mr. Callahan. How can I help you today? Let me pull up your account." "Don't waste my time," Derek snapped. "Explain to me why all my credit cards are blocked, why my payroll account is frozen, and why I received some ridiculous breach of contract notice." The manager tapped on his keyboard, studying the screen with a calm expression. "I apologize for the inconvenience, Mr. Callahan. Let me take a look here." He paused. That's interesting." "What's interesting?" Derek shouted. The manager looked up. "We didn't block your accounts or your credit cards, sir. The issue is that your account balance is effectively zero, and your credit card limits have been completely exhausted." "Impossible." Derek slammed his fist on the desk. "My salary is over $15,000 a month. My credit limit is $250,000. I didn't spend anything yesterday. That's correct, sir. The manager's voice remained frustratingly calm. However, our system shows an emergency automatic debit on your business line of credit. It was processed last night at exactly 12:01 a.m. This debit has absorbed the entire balance of your payroll account and simultaneously exhausted the remaining limit on all your connected credit cards. Derek felt the blood drain from his face. An emergency debit, on whose authority? The manager checked his screen again. Not on our authority, sir. The order came from the new owner of your line of credit. New owner, Derek's voice cracked. What new owner? According to our records, the $5.2 million business loan you originally held with our bank was sold approximately 14 months ago to a private equity firm. The firm is called Thornton Global Industries. We've simply been acting as the servicing agency for your monthly installment payments. Derek's heart dropped into his stomach. Thornton Global Industries, that name again. Why would they do this? Derek demanded. I've never missed a single payment. The manager shook his head slowly. That's outside our jurisdiction, Mr. Callahan. According to the notification we received last night from Thornton Global Industries, you've been declared in material breach of the loan sale agreement. When a breach is triggered, TGI has the contractual right to forcibly withdraw funds from all your connected accounts as an initial penalty. And it appears that's exactly what they've done. Derek gripped the edge of the desk so hard his knuckles turned white. How is this possible? How can I be in breach if I made all my payments? I don't have those details, sir. The specifics should be explained in the demand letter you received. You'll need to speak directly with Thornton Global Industries or their legal representatives. Derek stumbled out of the bank in a daze. The sky felt like it was spinning. Sweat soaked through his shirt, even though the morning air was cool. He collapsed into the driver's seat of his Mercedes, the Mercedes that apparently wasn't his anymore. His hands were shaking so violently, he could barely hold his phone. Thornton Global Industries. He opened a browser and typed the name into Google. What appeared made his jaw drop. Thornton Global Industries was a massive corporation, a conglomerate operating in luxury cosmetics, high-end fashion, real estate, and international investments. Their logo was everywhere. Derek had seen it before on billboards and magazine ads, but he had never paid attention. TGI products were sold in every major city in the world. New York, Paris, London, Tokyo, Dubai. Why, Derek whispered to himself, why would a company this huge care about my tiny loan? Then he remembered the law firm from the demand letter, Harper and Associates. He found the phone number and called. Good morning, Harper and Associates. This is Derek Callahan. I received a demand letter from your firm on behalf of Thornton Global Industries. This has to be a mistake. I've never defaulted on anything. The voice on the other end was calm, professional, and ice cold. There's no mistake, Mr. Callahan. Our client is acting in full accordance with the law. You violated Clause 14, Section C of the loan agreement you signed. Clause 14, what the hell is that? If you find reading the documents you signed to be tedious, Mr. Callahan, I'll explain. Clause 14, Section C stipulates that the borrower is obligated to maintain personal and family integrity. The borrower must not engage in any immoral or disreputable conduct that could affect the reputation of the lending institution or its assigns. Derek fell silent. The blood was draining from his face again. That clause is ridiculous, he finally sputtered. What does my personal life have to do with a business loan? It has everything to do with it, Mr. Callahan. When your loan was acquired by our client, all original clauses were transferred and activated. Thornton Global Industries is a company that places extremely high value on ethical conduct and family values. Your actions of divorcing your gravely ill wife and evicting her from your shared home to cohabitate with another woman constitute a severe violation of Clause 14, Section C. Derek couldn't breathe. How do you know about that? We have irrefutable evidence, Mr. Callahan. Photographs, audio recordings. Witness statements. We know you evicted your wife 3 nights ago while she was suffering from a serious illness. That action is what triggered this breach claim. Derek's knees went weak. He had to lean against his car to keep from falling. Maya, this was all because of Maya. But how? How did Maya know Thornton Global Industries? Did she work there as a janitor or something? Did she complain to someone in management? What do you want? Derek pleaded, his voice trembling with fear. Give me time. I'll pay the installments. I'll double the payments. I'll do whatever you want. It's too late for that, Mr. Callahan. Our client has no interest in installment arrangements. According to the demand letter, you have. There was a pause. Let me calculate. You have 2 days and approximately 6 hours remaining to pay the full $5.2 million. If you fail to do so, our execution team will seize your house and vehicles. The call ended. Derek threw his phone against the dashboard. The screen cracked. He screamed inside the car, a raw, primal scream of pure frustration. $5.2 million in 2 days. It was impossible. His salary was frozen. His savings were gone. The only assets he had were the house and the cars, and apparently those weren't even his anymore. He tried to think clearly. Maya, this was all Maya's doing, but how? Maybe she got a job at Thornton Global Industries. Maybe she knew someone there. Maybe she cried to some executive and they decided to help her. Whatever the connection was, Derek had to find her. He had to beg her to withdraw her complaint. He had to make her call off these lawyers. Yes, that was the only way. He started the car and headed toward Maya's parents' house. It was a 4-hour drive, but he had no other option. As he merged onto the highway, his phone rang. It was Brittany. He ignored it. She called again, and again, and again. Finally, irritated beyond belief, he answered. What is it? Where are you? Brittany's voice was shrill and angry. I went to use the credit card you gave me at the spa and it was declined. In front of everyone. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. Do you even have money, Derek? Derek gripped the steering wheel so hard it hurt. I have an emergency. Something came up. Just pay with your own money for now. My money, Brittany screeched. Are you kidding me? I don't have money. That's your job. Transfer something to my account right now. I told you I have an emergency, Derek shouted. I can't deal with this right now. He hung up. At the spa, Brittany stared at her phone in shock. Derek had never yelled at her before. Never. A seed of suspicion planted itself in her mind. The rich man she thought she had was suddenly having problems with all his cards. Something was very wrong. But Derek didn't care about Brittany right now. He drove for 4 hours straight, barely stopping. When he finally arrived at Maya's parents' house, his heart was pounding. The house was small, modest, exactly as he remembered it. He walked up to the front door and knocked. Maya's father answered. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. But the moment he saw Derek, those tired eyes filled with pure hatred. What are you doing here? I need to see Maya, Derek said. Please, it's urgent. Maya isn't here. Where is she? I need to talk to her. Maya's father stepped closer, his jaw tight with anger. You threw out my daughter when she was burning with fever. You kicked her out of her own home like she was garbage. And now you have the nerve to come here looking for her. Derek flinched. I made a mistake. I need to apologize. I need to find her. We don't know where she is. Maya's mother appeared behind her husband. Her eyes were red like she had been crying. She called us and said she was safe, but she didn't tell us where she went. Please, Derek begged. I'll do anything. I just need to talk to her. Get off my property, Maya's father said coldly. If you ever come back here again, I'll call the police. You don't deserve my daughter. You never did. The door slammed in Derek's face. Derek drove back to Houston in a daze. The little bit of money he had left in his emergency account was almost gone, spent on gas for the round trip. That night, he and Brittany had their biggest fight ever. Brittany wanted answers. She demanded to know what was going on. And finally, backed into a corner, Derek confessed part of the truth. I'm having some administrative problems, he said carefully. My accounts are temporarily frozen. It's just a misunderstanding. I'll fix it. Brittany wasn't stupid. She had seen the demand letter on the kitchen counter. She had read it while Derek was gone. 3 days, $5.2 million, foreclosure. You're broke, she said flatly. You're actually broke. It's temporary, Derek insisted. This is all Maya's fault. She did something. I don't know what, but I'll figure it out. Brittany's beautiful face twisted with disgust. I don't care whose fault it is. I refuse to be with someone who can't provide for me. They slept in the same bed that night, but they stayed on opposite sides. The cold distance between them felt like miles. Derek couldn't close his eyes. The countdown in his head kept running. Tomorrow was the 3rd day. The morning of the 3rd day was the most terrifying of Derek's entire life. The sun rose like any other day, but for Derek, it felt like the end of the world. At exactly 9:00 a.m., while he and Brittany were eating breakfast in tense silence, the doorbell rang. They both froze. Their eyes met across the table. Both faces were pale with fear. Don't open it, Derek whispered. Pretend we're not home. The doorbell rang again, longer this time. Then came loud, forceful knocks. Mr. Callahan, a stern voice called from outside. We know you're inside. We are the execution team from Harper and Associates representing Thornton Global Industries. Open this door immediately. Derek's heart stopped beating. Brittany started crying, loud, hysterical sobs. What do we do, Derek? What do we do? Derek panicked. He ran toward the back door, thinking he could escape through the yard. But when he yanked the kitchen door open, 2 massive security guards were already standing there, blocking his path. Please remain inside, sir, one of them said firmly. Derek was trapped. He walked back to the living room on shaking legs. A minute later, the front door swung open. The lawyers had brought a locksmith. A man in an impeccable dark suit walked inside, holding a leather folder. Behind him, several people in official vests carried stickers and documents. Mr. Callahan, the lawyer said. His voice was cold and professional. Your grace period has expired. By court order, we are now initiating forced execution procedures on this property, and all assets contained within to satisfy the outstanding debt owed to our client, Thornton Global Industries. No, Derek fell to his knees on his own living room floor. All his arrogance vanished in an instant. Please, give me more time. I'll pay. I swear I'll pay. Just give me 1 more week. The lawyer looked down at him, without an ounce of sympathy. You were given more than sufficient time, Mr. Callahan. Our team will now begin their work. You may take only your personal belongings that you are currently wearing. You have 15 minutes to voluntarily vacate this property. 15 minutes, Brittany shrieked. At that moment, watching Derek on his knees, crying like a child, something in Brittany snapped. The man she thought was a king was nothing but a beggar. She didn't want to go down with him. Without saying a word, Brittany turned and ran toward the bedroom. Derek, confused and desperate, called after her. Brittany, where are you going? Help me. But she didn't answer. The court officers began their work. They didn't care about the drama. They started placing TGI seizure stickers on the television, the furniture, the artwork on the walls. Outside, the sound of a tow truck backing into the driveway echoed through the house. They were coming for the Mercedes and the Range Rover. 5 minutes later, Brittany came back downstairs. She wasn't crying anymore. Her face was hard and cold. She was dragging 2 large suitcases that she had apparently packed at some point. She walked right past Derek, who was still on the floor staring at her in disbelief. Brittany, you're leaving me. Brittany stopped at the front door. She turned around, and her eyes were full of contempt. Leaving you? Of course I'm leaving you. I didn't sign up to be with some broke loser. I thought you were a king, Derek. Turns out you're just a pathetic clown. She pulled out her phone. My Uber's here. Goodbye, Derek. Enjoy your little disaster. She walked out the door. dragging her suitcases past the execution team without looking back. Derek watched her go. Betrayed, abandoned, exactly as he had done to Maya 3 days ago. The only difference was that Maya had been kicked out while she was sick and helpless. Brittany was leaving him at the peak of his destruction. "Time's up, Mr. Callahan." A security guard grabbed Derek's arm. Derek didn't resist. He was already numb. He let himself be dragged through the living room, past the furniture being tagged for seizure, and out the front door. They threw him onto the hot sidewalk. He landed hard on the concrete, still wearing the wrinkled clothes he had slept in. No wallet, no phone, nothing. He watched in horrified silence as his Mercedes was loaded onto a tow truck. He watched as the door of his house was sealed and chained shut. Everything was gone. In 3 short days, Derek Callahan had lost everything he had. He sat on the sidewalk, broken and humiliated. People walking by stared at him like he was crazy. The man who had been so arrogant was now a public spectacle. He was alone, broke, homeless, jobless. And then, in his moment of absolute despair, one name floated into his shattered mind. Maya. He checked his pockets. His cracked phone was still there. He didn't even remember grabbing it. With trembling hands, he searched his contacts. Maya wife. He pressed call. He didn't expect her to answer. Maybe the number was disconnected. Maybe she had blocked him. Maybe she had thrown away her phone and disappeared. But it rang. Once, twice, and on the 3rd ring, someone picked up. "Hello." The voice was Maya's. But it wasn't the weak, sick voice he remembered. This voice was calm, clear, strong, and cold as ice. Derek, who had been ready to rage and scream, suddenly felt very, very small. All his anger evaporated. In its place was pure terror. He started crying. "Maya," he sobbed. "Maya, please help me. I don't know what's happening. They took the house. They took the cars. I'm on the street. Maya, please, why is this happening to me?" On the other end of the line, 40 floors up in the Thornton Global Industries headquarters building, Maya sat calmly in her executive chair. She was no longer bedridden. She was no longer weak. She was healthy, energetic, and absolutely powerful. An elegant silk scarf framed her glowing face. Her makeup was flawless. Her designer suit fit her perfectly. In front of her, Director Chen and several department heads were in the middle of a meeting. Important business. International expansion. Maya's old phone, which she had asked Director Chen to retrieve from the house, vibrated on the conference table. The name Derek flashed on the screen. The meeting paused. All eyes turned to Maya. Maya raised a hand, signaling everyone to stay silent. She picked up the phone, pressed the speaker button, and let Derek's pathetic sobbing fill the room. "Maya, please help me. I don't know what happened. They took everything. I'm on the street. Maya, why is this happening?" Maya waited patiently for his crying to subside. Then she leaned toward the phone and spoke in a voice Derek had never heard before. "I'm sorry, who is this?"